is already turning. So verse 25 says, and they asked him, saying, why then do you baptize if you are not the Christ, nor Elijah, nor the prophet? Because they asked him all those things. Are you Elijah? Are you Christ? Are you the prophet? Are you all these things? And he said, no, I am not he. I'm the voice crying in the wilderness. I'm the one sent to prepare the way, but I am not him. And so they became indignant. They were indignant that John had not asked or sought for their ecclesiastical authority. They were indignant that he didn't really seem to care. He didn't care whether they agreed with him or not, whether they liked it or not. I mean, look here. We talked about John the Baptist here a while back. You talking about a guy that wearing a suit of camel hair and got bugs between his teeth. He ate locusts, wild honey. And look here, you talking about a rough looking cat. Now he probably was tough as nails anyway. He lived in the wilderness most times. And so, he really did. He was one of these types of guys that you see, we have them right now at this day and time. These old country fellas, these old, some call them rednecks, I don't know, but they old way back country fellas who they don't give a rat's pink petunia what anybody cares, what they think. They don't care. They just moving on with life. And John Baptist was kind of rough around the edges like that. He really didn't care. He didn't go and ask for the permission. He didn't need it because God commissioned him and God ordained it. And so, but they were all bent out of shape because he didn't seek their permission. See, in that day, if you preached or anything, if you preached to any degree, then you were supposed to seek out the permission of the Pharisees. They were the big dogs. And they were the spiritual leaders. And you were supposed to get their permission and get their approval and all this kind of stuff. Well, now listen. Let me also clarify something by saying this. I do believe in biblical authority. Don't misunderstand me. You've heard me preach it and teach it for years. I do believe in biblical authority. I believe that God has me set under the authority of the council of the Pentecostal Holiness Church of Lake City. I'm under their authority. And I believe in biblical authority. I do not believe in religious hierarchy, in the pecking order, so to speak. I don't believe in that. And it happens, listen, it happens even within our denomination, I'm sure. And these things take place sometimes. At one time or another, they happen and take place. And I don't believe, in other words, not a religious ladder climbing, what I'm saying. Where you got people trying to climb to the top of the ladder on the hierarchy. I can't hardly say it, hierarchy. And they're trying to, and listen, they're trying to get to the top, and sometimes it don't matter who they have to hurt to get there. Who they have to backstab to get there. Listen, I ain't into none of that. You know me well enough by now to know I ain't into none of that stuff. I respect biblical authority, I certainly do. And I love biblical authority when it operates as God programmed it in his book to operate. That's fine, well and good. But John Baptist, like me, he didn't have much use for that religious ladder climbing stuff. And so they were indignant that he didn't ask their permission. So verse 26, John answered them, saying, I baptize with water. But let me tell you guys something. But there stands one among you whom you don't know. And I think I might have bumped this before. I'm going to bump it again. John was pointing to their spiritual ignorance. Now he's talking to the leaders, the supposedly spiritual leaders of Israel in that day. And he is addressing their spiritual ignorance. Christ was in their very midst and they didn't know it. They were supposed to be religious leaders. And Christ, John is telling them, there's one among you and you don't even know it. The one is among you and you don't even know it. You're religious leaders and rulers and you don't even recognize the glory of God. That question can be asked. It should be asked. It's probably being asked. It ought to be being asked among many churches across this nation today. The Holy Ghost shows up, and some people wouldn't recognize him. The Holy Ghost showed up if he was wearing a red ball cap and hot pink sneakers. They wouldn't recognize him. He would be right in their very midst, and they wouldn't know it. That song that Bonnie sang a while ago, that's one of my favorite songs, The Broken One. I love that song. Love to hear her sing it. I love that song. If everybody loved like he does, there'd be a lot less broken ones. There have been so many people turned off from church because of church people. Because they feel uneasy. Now, listen, no, don't misunderstand me. I know a lot of it's excuse. I understand that. A lot of people use that as an excuse, but unfortunately, a lot of times we give them that excuse. If everybody loved like he does, that's why his blood was shed on Calvary.